Joining me now is the country's leading agricultural economist, Dr Ashok Gulati, Infosys Chair, Professor, Agriculture and former Chairman, Commission for Agricultural Costs and Prices. Appreciate you joining us, Dr Gulati, always. The government bans wheat exports with effect from May 13 with some minor exceptions for those who have irrevocable letters of credit or where the importing governments request the Indian government for food security. You had warned against such a decision. You are still critical. Can you tell us why you are critical of this wheat export ban?
Well, it reflects very poorly on what the Prime Minister had been talking, what the Commerce Minister had been talking, and what India was showing to the world, that our farmers are ready to feed the world. So it cuts a very sorry picture. Once we have committed for 10 million tons of exports and we have announced that publicly, I think we should have stuck to that. Nudging from that reflects a very poor decision as far as I am concerned, besides the fact that it is going to be anti-farmer.
I'll come to the end.
Will be the losers in this game.
So you believe that the government should have stuck to its line of exporting wheat using the opportunity provided by the Ukraine war in a way. But the government, sir, has defended its decision, saying there is a worldwide surge in inflation. India is not exempt from that. April 22, wheat inflation almost 10% against overall cereal inflation of 5.96%. There is a fear that wheat prices would have shot up even further. This is one step to check price rise. How do you see that?
Well, I don't think they'll be able to control inflation just by banning wheat exports. The price rise, global price rise in wheat was well known even before the government started talking of increasing exports, and the very fact that Prime Minister, when he was talking to President Joe Biden, he was aware, and it was that we will be able to cool down the global prices by contributing our little bit. So global inflation and global price eruption is not something, a new variable that cropped up suddenly. This was well known, and India had decided and given its commitment in a way for 10 million tons of exports. Now reneging from that is poor.
But there are concerns, sir, about food security. Revised estimates of wheat production much lower than the estimated 111 million metric tons. Wheat procurement also much lower than what it used to be. Should we be looking at our food security first before exporting wheat across the world?
Sure, if the procurement is low, the market is offering 10% higher price than the minimum support price. Government could have offered to the farmers a bonus of 250 rupees a quintal or 300 rupees a quintal, and farmers would be happy to government as much as government wants. Even today, if they announce 300 rupees as bonus per quintal, then all those farmers who are still holding their stocks in the expectation of a better price would be happy to give it to the government. Does the government not want farmers' incomes to go up? It's as simple. Market is at present on the upswing, and the farmers must be given free access to the best markets in the world. If the government doesn't allow that, it is implicitly a tax on the farmer. And especially so when you have already given free food to more than 800 million people in this country. So whom are you trying to protect by suppressing the prices of wheat? It is you and me. I think it is this bias of urban class, urban consumers that keeps our farmers poor. So these are all the policies of implicitly taxing the farmers, whether it is stocking limits, whether it is export controls. These are hidden instruments of implicit taxation on the farmer. I think people should know in the power what is the trade policy.
Interesting the way you're putting it, that the middle class is being protected and the farmer in a way is not being allowed to take advantage of favorable market conditions. But there are those who will say that to suggest that the farmers are being hit is an unfair charge. They say that farmers have already sold most of their produce, so their interests are protected. You agree?
Well, if the production was targeted 111 million tons, and even if the production is somewhat less than that, government has to tell us what is the final figure on production. Do you think that entire 90 million or 100 million has been sold in the market? Then you don't understand what goes on in the market. There is a lot of stock which is still with the farmers. There is a lot of stock with the traders, and saying that farmers have got their due and therefore now you can suppress the prices. Next time nobody will be buying from the farmers. Everything will come down to the government. Now tell me, if the price is going up, the price is going up for 100 commodities. Maize inflation is 13.4%. Why don't you ban the export of maize? The oilseed, edible oil prices are going up by 17–18%. What is the solution there that you have? So there are many other reasons of inflation at present, because you had given too much of stimulus. The fiscal policy has been extremely loose for the last 2 years because of COVID and so on and so forth. I think we have to get back to the pre-COVID policy scenario. And at present, if you're trying to just buy wheat exports, I can bet your inflation is not going to come down. Don't worry. So it will take another 1 year or 2 years for inflation to get under control. And that will be through a major action on the loose monetary policy and the loose fiscal policy that are there. Just by putting the tap off on wheat exports can help you for 5 days, 10 days, and after that you will see again the inflationary pressures are very much there. It's a global phenomenon. Please try to understand this inflation. It's not just a localized scenario. If your production is down, please tell us what is the final figure on production front. And your procurement is down because the market prices are good. So why are you suppressing it? Offer them a better price and take it as much as you want.
Fascinating, Professor Gulati. I hope someone in government is listening to you. The wisdom of talking about open markets applies to everyone else but our Kisan. And maybe the middle class always has to be protected, but what of the farmer? Thank you very much, though, for joining us and sharing your view, however contentious that may seem. Thanks very much.